Hello, everyone. First of all, thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak about myself in front of you. I'm Chloe Chen from Hong Kong. I have worked as an international intern at Gwangju Trauma Center, and I'm currently pursuing a master's degree in NGO from Chunam National University. And in the meantime, I'm hosting a local radio program which is sponsored by the Department of Human Rights in Gwangju. I'm also serving Gwangju Cultural Foundation as a regular roundtable participant and event planner. So for today, I would like to give a speech regarding the challenges in Hong Kong and the spirit of democracy. Well, these days, when everyone is concerned about coronavirus, as a Hong Konger, I often recall the memory during SARS epidemic. In fact, besides SARS, we have gone through many struggles during the transition from being a British colony to being under Chinese sovereignty. We also endured the Asian financial crisis that came along with the handover, and finally built up the Asia World City that we are living in today. The challenges that we are facing right now are not just the intensifying economic inequality, but also the fear that our autonomy and political freedoms may be getting eroded. Hong Kong has been part of China since 1997 and has remained as a self-governing special administrative region under the one country, two systems policy from the Basic Law, which guaranteed Hong Kong a high degree of autonomy for 50 years and safeguarded the pre-existing civil liberties. According to the Article 45 of the Basic Law, Hong Kong's chief executive will ultimately be elected by universal suffrage. However, this promise, to a certain degree, is not being realized. The implementation of an authentic one-man, one-vote universal suffrage is what is deemed to be the key step in the democratic reforming process. Hence, it was also constantly being stressed as one of the 5 demands from the recent protests, as well as during the umbrella movement in 2014. Besides the realization of universal suffrage, another challenge is considered to be the clash between mainland China and Hong Kong's ideologies. Hong Kong has developed its political system and a unique cultural identity ever since the British colonial period prior to 1997. It has remained a self-governing region with its own laws, currency, and education system that are significantly different from mainland China's. The advocation of self-determination in Hong Kong, which is often misassociated with national independence, is criticized as being against mainland China's One China policy. Under such circumstances, many human rights activists are being stigmatized and labeled as rioters, who intend to undermine China's territorial integrity and accused of conspiring against the central government. On the other hand, Hong Kong's resistance towards the attempts of expanding mainland China's political control is escalating. As we know, a series of protests put Hong Kong at the forefront of global attention last year. The prelude to a series of demonstrations began on June 16, 2019. The protests against the extradition bill on that day can be marked as one of the largest demonstrations in Hong Kong's history. According to the data from the organizer, Civil Human Rights Front, nearly 2 million people participated on that day. If this number is accurate, considering Hong Kong has a population of 7 million people, then 1 out of every 3.5 Hong Kong citizens have joined the protest. Moreover, among these protesters, most of them appeared to be the youths. In fact, the youths in Hong Kong have become a powerful force and have been contributing to the society with their creative democratic innovations. The combined use of different information and communication technologies, such as Telegram and the airdrop broadcast, are widely adopted in today's grassroots movements, allowing wider civic engagement when compared to the past. The youth's active participation in politics is becoming a new phenomenon in Hong Kong society and has shed light on the formation of new democratic values. This may also explain the large voter turnout for the district council elections in November 2019. More than 71% of Hong Kong's electorate had voted. Compared to the previous highest turnout, the number of the electorate had doubled. In addition, pro-democracy candidates won local council elections by sweeping 347 of 452 seats in the Legislative Council, which is unprecedented. With the district councils being the only political leadership bodies that are directly elected by the civilians, the election for this time can be demonstrated as the civic response to the present situation in Hong Kong, and moreover, the public's awareness towards democracy. With an internship experience at the Gwangju Trauma Center, I personally find the teachings from the May 18th Gwangju Uprising particularly insightful. The dark history of Gwangju, including the periods of Japanese occupation and military dictatorships, has indeed refined Gwangju and granted Gwangju citizens strength and toughness. During the time serving the victims of May 18th, I could often identify a strong sense of determination from the bereaved parents' straight and steady gazes. The Gwangju spirit manifested in the braveness of the youths at that time, and I strongly believe that bloodshed was not for nothing. It had indeed awakened the civilians with the message that changes for this society are needed to be made by the people. Thanks to the commemorative work that has been successfully carried out, Hong Kongers have begun to look to Gwangju Uprising for democratic inspiration, among others. The anthem of the Gwangju Uprising, March of the Beloved, was converted into Cantonese version during the anti-extradition law protests as a way of paying respect to the pioneers of democracy. As of today, the damage caused by the Hong Kong protests is incomparable to the great loss of life during the 1980s Gwangju Uprising. But in both cases, there is credible evidence of the authorities executing excessive force, such as firing tear gas upon the crowds, brutal beatings, and arbitrary arrests, which resulted in serious human rights violation issues. An implication from these movements is that the authorities that try to suppress people's freedom of expression will only create instability and distrust within society. Democracy, in many cases, may seem to be an endless pursuit, as we always find it hard to live up to the democratic expectations. But what truly matters, I firmly believe, is to keep up critical thinking to make fair judgments and be given rights to disapprove anything unjust. On top of that, democracy is built on the people's participation. In the new age of democracy, with the growing power of youths, more and more political interactive platforms and spaces for political discussions are being introduced. NGOs are also assisting in making up good governance by defending human rights. Due to these positive responses towards the challenges of democracy, I believe no matter what crises are waiting, we will always be capable to find solutions by working hand in hand. Thank you.